Hello everyone, Drake Robinson here. I wanted to speak on this Vincent Bartello situation, just because it's been in my news feed. Um, so basically, about a couple of weeks ago, there was this gentleman by the name of Vincent Martello, and he was involved in a 17-year-old kid, and he was involved in a hit and run incident um, with two females from his school. Um, and yeah, pretty much that was the incident. But of course, what stuck out to a lot of people was the fact that he was a Charlie Kirk supporter. And y'all know I could care less about politics. It's unfortunate what happened to Charlie Kirk, but yeah, politics just aren't my thing. But anyways, yeah, and apparently, and also, he apparently had this crush on one of the females one of the two females involved in this hit and run incident, and he was rejected. I'm sure very cruelly, very because you know how a lot of these modern females they don't just tell you no. They don't want they don't want to go out with you if you do build up the quote unquote confidence to ask them. They're gonna, you see in the videos, they get aggressive, they get hostile, they get violent even. So I'm sure it has to have been something like that. And yeah, so yeah, and there was, and a lot of people are grasping onto those two aspects. He was a Charlie Kirk supporter, and he was rejected. Once again, in my opinion, rejected probably in a very cruel fashion, and that bruised and damaged his ego. Because that's how a lot of the modern blue pillar females like to reject people in a very cruel and callous way. And I'm not blaming anyone for their unfortunate passing. I'm not doing that, so don't misinterpret me. But I'm just saying that's the reality of the modern world that we live in. But anyway, so yeah, um, now I, I I'm sorry, I just can't believe that him being quote unquote rejected what was the main factor. And tell you the truth, these two females, they don't seem like they were the best people themselves. Just based on the things I've read about them, they seem like they, one even. This is where the Charlie Kirk aspect comes. One even mocked Kirk's death on TikTok or whatever. And is that okay? Of course, that's not okay to mock someone's death. You know, um, and like I said, also she probably rejected him in a very cruel and callous fashion. Not to condone anything. I'm just saying one has to be careful how they treat people in this world. Of course, the blue pillars don't know how to treat other people in a good way. Um, so I'm sorry. There has to be something. They had to have done something else to this kid for him to snap like that, in my opinion. Because I refuse to believe one just snaps like that for those two very obscure reasons, vapid reasons. There had to have been another trigger. That's the aspect I'm looking at this from. There has to have been something else, and maybe something else will come out. This is a fairly recent story, but I just don't believe because that's the blue pillar media narrative that they're portraying. Oh, he's a rejected guy, and the no one brings up the fact that one of the females, don't have the shiniest past too. Don't have the shiniest past, themselves. No one's ever gonna bring that up. Or is this a masculinity issue? This is a man issue. It's like I don't think that's what it is. That's their narrative, because they always gotta have one. But I refuse to believe that's the case. But yeah. So this story is just kind of, I'm gonna definitely keep my eye out on it. You know, hopefully, yeah. So I don't know. Hopefully, something else comes out because I just don't believe like they had to have done something else to this kid. They had to have. I'm out.